Are you ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Tool to Play presents Still Got Game with Derek D. Smooth Nolan and Joel Dude I Rock Albert.
This episode of Still Got Game is brought to you by GoDaddy. Hey now, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Still Got Game, episode 35. Still Got Game is the official podcast of tooltoplay.com. I am, as always, Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
And I am Joel Dude I Rock Albert.
What's going on, late Joel Dude I Rock Albert?
Late? What do you mean? 8 minutes.
Oh,
That's 8 minutes. You know what? You got to keep them guessing. You got to get like they're salivating for the show, and these 8 minutes are perfect for that. Yes. You're welcome, Internet.
It's like 7 o'clock your time.
I know.
Over here, it's like 10 o'clock.
Everyone's sleeping already.
Yeah, not really. Maybe Tiff is. I'm not sure. I don't see her in chat, so she actually might be.
She didn't want to wait up for you. She was like, eh.
Yes. So just wait till 2 weeks from now when we're trying to do the E3 wrap-up show starting at 10 o'clock, and we go till 11, 12, 1. Yes, that's going to be a long evening. So we might as well jump right in the show proper. We will start off with feedback from last week's show. And remember, if you want to leave us a voicemail, it will cut you off after a minute. Now, I am going to take a sip of my drink here because these are fucking ape shit tonight.
Yeah. A lot of people discussing a lot of things at length.
Yes, and none of these could be shortened.
No.
So there's a lot of comments on the Android hate that Jay and I share, as well as both for and against the Kinect, the Kinectless Xbox One that we talked about last week. So we'll start off. QA Diva comments. 1. Stop hating on Android, Nolan. And everyone with Android phones, and not everyone with Android phones hates Apple. I have an iPod and it's just fine, but I prefer my Samsung to the iPhone. Incorrect. All right. Part 2. I repeat, hate the Kinect. Voice commands don't always work for me, and I'm able to do things much faster with my controller. Microsoft is never going to do anything with a Kinect that I can't live without. Part 2, wrong also. Part 3, LAN party, get on it. Now that part, that's probably your best bet.
Yeah,
that's the most compelling argument in this entire thing.
Right.
We will, once we get through all of the comments, we will talk about the Kinect stuff a little more. I think we talked about it maybe enough last week, but these comments are huge, so we're just going to keep rolling through them. The next comment is from Kayul, who is actually my IRL brother, to believe it or not. So Kayul comments, totally disagree with you guys about the Kinectless Xbox One. They should have offered this from the start. They probably would have outsold the PS4 as well as if they had offered a model for the same $400 price point. Had I been given the choice on day one, I would have saved $100 and skipped the Kinect. I never had a Kinect on the 360, and the only things I ever use it for on the Xbox One are Xbox On, Xbox Turn Off, Xbox Watch TV, and even those don't work that great, and I usually find myself yelling at the television. Totally not worth the extra $100 for me, especially since they haven't fixed the issue of not offering discrete TV receiver power on-off command settings. Well, Kayul, wrong also. Anyone that's having problems with talking to their TV, it's because you don't speak properly. You know, maybe if you were a podcast or a vidcast host, you would pontificate and pronounce your words appropriately. But
I will give him a little credit. There's some truth to the annoyance of like it not always recognizing, but my fail rate is very low. I mean, sometimes it happens, sure, especially if there's just enough background noise in the room. There's situations, but like on the whole, that's the way I always look at this thing. Why would you not want to have that phone? That's the thing is, on the whole, 9 times out of 10, it works great. Yep. And my whole thing is getting from menus and screens to other menus is so much faster than actually having to use the controller.
And trying to figure out where the fuck those menus are.
Yeah, I don't want to dig through a menu system. If I can just say, hey, bring up Netflix, then that's great. It's going to bring up Netflix. I've literally saved myself a shit ton of time because I'm lazy, and obviously that's what I want to do. But that's a great feature in and of itself, right there.
Yes.
And for $100, I feel like it's worth it. I mean, I get it. You're spending a lot of money on your console, but you're going to spend $60, $70 on your game anyway. It's like it's not
incremental. It's still pennies after dollars.
Right. Exactly.
Now we are going to be getting to some more compelling reasons here, but even then, those two may still be wrong.
Right.
But we will get to that. So, next, Kieran Orion comments. One other thing you guys should all consider about Kinect is that it doesn't function in a lot of territories. For example, in Ireland, it isn't even optimized for voice recognition, so this function is disabled. I have to set my location in the United Kingdom for voice commands to work. If I want to download a game or something, I have to reset my location to Ireland again. Again, in Ireland, there is no TV integration yet. I'm sure Microsoft will work through each territory with us at the bottom of the list. I guess we're lucky we were one of the 13 launch countries. The lack of functionality wasn't communicated from Microsoft, and if it wasn't for the power of the Google search, I would have thought my one was broken. Okay, this is a almost compelling reason why. No, it's still not. It's a bad thing. I'm sorry that in Ireland the Kinect doesn't understand, but that's because you guys talk weird over there. If you just if you guys just spoke plain, clear English, then there wouldn't be an issue. It's really hard for a company to launch something. Like, look at the Siri launch. Siri didn't launch on the iPhone in every single country with every single language. Those were all patched in what was that, iOS 6 that came out in? So it was like 601, 602, 603. All those, they kept adding more and more locales and localizations for that. It's not an easy thing. So you go where the bulk of your audience is, and that is obviously here in America. And granted, I'm sure there's people in America where it doesn't understand them, like down south, they're like, golly, Jay, like Xbox, turn on. And it doesn't work down there. But this is of all the wrong reasons why the Kinect should not be there. This is the closest to being right. I will give you that, Kieran Orion. Yes,
I would even say, at this point when they release a system like this, and they probably know it's not going to work out in that region or whatever, I could see a case being made for in those regions to not bring the Kinect. But the problem is, they had the goal, no matter what, of being this universal system and making sure all of the developers would work on this universal platform. That's the whole reason for the Kinect in the first place. So while it does suck that it doesn't work for you, the Kinect is always supposed to be a baked-in part of the system. That's kind of the problem, is that I almost feel like if they really wanted to sell this thing, they would make it so that it was just hardwired into it in some way, so that you don't have to feel like it's an add-on that you're paying $100 for. It's theoretically supposed to be a part of the system. It's a part of that ecosystem. So it sucks, but it's also not really a knock against it, really. I mean, for the entirety of what the Xbox One is supposed to be. And that's kind of the issue here. So
agreed.
But that sucks for you. That does suck.
It does.
I fully back that. It's terrible.
Yes. All right, and last but not least, Sarcasmo Jones comments. I will agree that Kinect historically has not proven itself as a capable controller for games, but I think it's vital to the core functionality of the Xbox One. Not only does the Kinect allow me to turn on my console and turn it off, which is pretty fucking cool, but it also provides instant access to the game DVR, apps, and settings that can be buried under the shitty Xbox One interface. How will these Kinectless, I saved $100 guys, record time-sensitive replays? I say Xbox record that and instantly have a 30-second clip. It's going to take at least 30 seconds to get the DVR, resulting in the player manually recording a longer video and trimming off the part where they're navigating menus or losing 30 seconds of a longer video. Saying Snap Game DVR gets me there almost instantaneously. Now, this is the most compelling fucking argument to what Jay and I have been saying.
Yeah, this is the common sense version of the argument.
It's good for jumping through the menu system. Like, try to find fucking settings. Like, you got to go like over my games and apps and then down to apps and like over like 29 things to settings. Or you say Xbox, go to settings, and it's like, boom, here's your settings, like right there. Like, you can't go wrong with that. So the game DVR stuff. How many times are you kicking ass and you're going to be like, Xbox, record that? Or you're in a competitive game and you want to record something, you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to hit this button. I'm going to go in here. Well, you know what? You respawned and died like 10 times since you tried to record that. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so that's the thing. And I feel like people tend to, I don't know if they forget about those things or maybe they don't use those features in the first place. But if you were going to make the argument that it is not required, and like your brother said, I mean, I could see that argument being made. I can always see the argument being made of, I just want it as a game console. I don't want it for anything else. That's totally a valid argument. The problem is that it's not being sold as just a console. Like that's and that could be, obviously you could say that's a wrong move by Microsoft. I think that's what now Microsoft obviously believes because they're taking this away. But that was never like the case of the Xbox. It was always the goal for Microsoft, even when the Xbox came out, the original Xbox was to be the entertainment system of your living room. The games was just the easiest way for them to get there. So that's why it's kind of sad for me to see them, start pulling back. Because the vision was always to be the entertainment system of your living room. And that seems to be like gamers are ruining it. And I'm a gamer in this situation, so I take offense to that. Gamers are ruining it for me because I also want it to be my entertainment system.
Yeah.
I want that. I want them to continue to innovate on the Kinect and to continue to innovate on the things that make it not the same as the fucking PS4. Yeah. If I want to buy a PS4, I'll buy a PS4. If I want to buy just a gaming rig, I'm going to buy a fucking PC because I'm not a retard.
Exactly.
But
this is what happens when you switch out the upper echelon of your management. And they're like, "Oh, well, I just came in here, and I know that there's been years of development and figuring out how we're going to sell this Xbox One thing, but I think we could do well by let's get rid of this Kinect thing and drop $100 off the price. Why wouldn't we just do that?" Like, this is what happens when you swap out your management team, and they don't have that vested interest that the team that birthed that baby and brought it to market, the wisdom they had. And I think this is going to prove to be a huge mistake in the long run.
Yeah, I would agree. And even if it doesn't, my whole thing with this, and I've said it before, it's like I don't even care if they're right. I don't care if the Xbox starts selling like hotcakes and it proves that, like, what they're just saying to me is, yes, they couldn't make it in the entertainment. Like, they couldn't make it doing what they were originally setting out to do. I don't think it's going to be that hard for them to make it as a gaming system. They've already proven that they can do that. I want to see that entire vision grow and have it really be the autonomous thing that lives in my living room that turns the lights on, turns the lights off, flushes the toilet for me when I'm done, all that stuff. That's what I want.
Exactly.
That's it. I can get a gaming system anywhere.
Yep. All right. Well, that was some excellent feedback, guys. And that was fucking long as fuck. Yeah. So if any of you have feedback, give us a call, 773-527-2961, or email us at podcast@tooltoplay.com. And then site-related news, Jay?
No, not much. We're going to start doing I haven't even told you yet, Derek. That's the way we like to do things on the show. We're going to start porting all the old data over to the new system on we're going to start that slow process to the new platform that we're going to be moving Tool to Play to. Of course, there's going to be a ton of changes, but we're not going to really discuss any of those until we actually get some of the legwork stuff done. And then I'm already working on a new mobile app to overtake the other mobile app that, by the way, is now released for iOS 7 and Android devices. So if you didn't know, the new version is already up on those two platforms, and then I'm going to be redoing it again in the next couple months. So a lot of stuff.
Yep. Go to the iTunes App Store or go to whatever fake bullshit Android land of viruses app store that you go to, but ours will not have viruses like the other 99% of apps, like we learned today from Tim Cook.
Yes.
All right. Well, I guess on that, Jay, why don't we meander over into what we're playing? What have you been playing this week, Joel Dude I Rock Albert?
Huge week. We'll talk about this because it's obviously going to be in the what came
well,
out.
You can hold off on anything that came out this week then.
Well, I played a game that we're about to discuss from the second it has opened up until I'm dreaming in this game. So this is what I wake up to, and this is what I want to play. But I also did pick up Watch Dogs as well. So I made some comments about that in Facebook. Overall, the game itself, though, is a very good game. I'm very happy with Watch Dogs. I think people are giving it a little bit too much shit, actually. But I think overall, it's a very good game. So that's what I've been doing. I've been mixing it up this week. What about you?
Nice. It's been a busy week, so I've done nothing but Titanfall. I'm still fucking in the grind. I'm like just almost done 8th gen. Almost up to 9.
It's time to move on, my friend. It's time to move on.
I can sail right into the sunset once I'm done these last 2 gens.
Did you buy Watch Dogs? Do you own Watch Dogs or no?
No, I didn't. I was such a huge fan of Watch Dogs when we saw it early on, and then I got really nervous about Watch Dogs when even as recently as PAX East, where they still weren't showing it off, and I was like, why don't they have it playable? Why isn't it show offable? And it's because it ended up just being a GTA clone.
It is. I will agree. It is essentially a GTA clone. But if you look at it this way, it's the best GTA clone. I would say it's better than GTA. To be honest with you.
Okay, but that's not how the game was originally spun.
Yeah. And I think there are some features that you're probably overlooking. It's very easy to call it that because it has a similar sort of playstyle as Grand Theft Auto. There's a lot. You're doing a lot more, and the story even I think is better than GTA. It's a little bit more not realistic, but more fantasy out there, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, at its core, it is. I would put it in the same genre as a GTA. There's no question about it.
And that doesn't mean we're not going to pick it up at some point, but it changed from a day one purchase to I have some downtime purchase once I realized that they had changed the basically the direction that they had said the game was going in.
Gotcha. I understand.
Yep. All right. Well, speaking of new releases, then why don't we hop on over into the new releases? First new release out this week is a multi-platform release, and is Murdered Soul Suspect, and this is out for the Xbox One, the PS4, the Xbox 360, the PS3, and the PC. This is a new action-adventure IP from Square Enix and Airtight Games. You play as the ghost of a detective who has been brutally murdered investigating a serial killer. The graphics in the game are really impressive, and the story that's embedded in the game is definitely compelling. So before I start to shit on anything, just know that it's an excellent story. We saw it last year at E3. We played again this year at PAX East. Tiff played through a good half hour, 45 minutes of it. It's definitely a great story, but really it plays more like an interactive story than an action adventure game. It is. It's a lot of you do move around freely on your own, but most of the things that happen in the game end up being various versions of QuickTime events, and it's just kind of leading you through the story. And if that's what you're into, like you're a Mirror's Edge kind of person or whatever, and you just want a great story laid out to you over time, well, this is for you then. But I don't know. It's definitely not for me. But yeah, I'm definitely not going to shit on this game because at least story-wise and graphics-wise, it is definitely a AAA title. No bones about it.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the thing with a type of game like this is I think you'll get your money's worth if this is the type of game you're into. Because there's plenty of games like this that I think are probably really amazing for some people. But I kind of follow suit. I don't really play these games to do like a choose your own adventure sort of thing. I want to be active in the actual gaming part of things. But from what we did see, it does look top-notch studio quality. They spent a lot of money doing it. So if you're into this sort of thing, go pick it up.
Not everybody's a competitive online shooter player. Some people want to play a game by themselves, and this might be your kind of game. All right. Well, the only other new release out this week is out for the PC, and it is WildStar. This is Carbine Studios' long-awaited sci-fi fantasy MMORPG. The game's been delayed a few times, as we know, over the past year, but it looks like it was worth the wait. It features multiple modes of subscription play, either with a monthly subscription fee or via in-game purchasable items that grant you 30 days of gameplay each. Wow, we got someone is a new follower shit going on in our Twitch stream over there. It looks absolutely amazing. And the early word is very positive about this game. I know, Jay, you've been playing this for a while, and I will be starting this week. I've got fucking like a 6-month code they sent me to play the shit out of this, so I'm going to check it out.
Good. I mean, this will be weird to see you back in an MMO once again, but
yes.
WildStar is an amazing video game. Obviously, most of our listeners are probably more into the console world, and that's totally fine. But I am a PC gamer at heart, and I've talked with the guys at WildStar. I know a lot of those guys in the dev team. They're all it's a phenomenal company, and they've come together to create a phenomenal game. It's very, very hard in this day and age to create an MMO in and of itself, but to create an MMO that has all the features of the behemoth that is Blizzard is very hard to do because they've been doing it for 10 plus years. And these guys basically crammed in all of the features you know and love about MMOs, but completely changed the dynamic of combat. It's active, skill-based combat. So you're not just clicking a target and pushing a button. You actually have to find the target, aim, fire, and actually get the hit. So they've done everything. It's got battlegrounds, PvP, raiding, adventure modes and things like that. So Tool to Play already has a guild on the Storm Talon server. We are Dominion side. So if anyone wants to come play with me, Duty, and a bunch of other friends from Tool to Play. Hit me up. You can do it through Twitch if you want, or even through the game itself. Dude, I Rock. You'll see me in the game at some point, and we'll play some All Star together. So that's what I basically did all weekend, to the point where Amanda, my lovely girlfriend, didn't even see me for like 2 days.
She probably liked that, actually.
Yeah, she was kind of happy.
Yeah, I would imagine so. It totally, especially from you.
Yeah, like, no, it's terrible.
Yes.
24 hours of me, it's just terrible.
I know. Come next week, it's like I got 6 straight days of you.
Yeah.
Yes. So yes, I can understand the need for a break. Like you and I take like a 350-day break, and then we spend a week together. Right. So yeah. So all right, well that is awesome, and like I said, I can't wait to check it out. It is it's something I've been looking forward to checking out. I'm a little nervous about getting back into MMO, but
it should be. And especially, I will say this MMO has that quality that it's going to tug on of yours, where you will be probably addicted in like a week. Oh. And in fact, I will say, like, to give them even more kudos, this weekend was the early start weekend.
Yeah, I had that code too. Yeah.
Yeah, and the servers were so slammed that there were 6 hours, 10-hour wait times just to get into the game. So if you're judging success, the game has not even launched yet, and they already do not have enough space on the servers to contend with the pre-release that they've already put out. So Tuesday will be interesting to see if everything just catches on fire and burns to the ground. That's probably what's going to happen. But
maybe I should jump on after this then with my early code. But.
Yeah, that's probably a smart idea because the servers are so full that actually getting on the server, like if you want to actually play with me in this case, is going to be tough because those Origin servers are pretty much completely filled at this point. So that wouldn't be a terrible idea.
All right. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess, Jay, on that, to keep the show moving forward, why don't we slam on over into gaming news? First story!
First story, college kids about to get paid. EA may pay almost $1,000 per college athlete for sports game settlement. This is via joystick. Student athletes whose likenesses were used in EA's NCAA football and basketball games will receive up to $951, a nice round number, for each year that they were featured in the games, according to the proposed settlement being put forth for approval by a judge, of course. While EA proposed a $40 million settlement in September of 2013, for its ongoing litigation with student athletes over its college sports series stemming back from May 2009, it hasn't been clear how that money would actually be divided amongst all the parties in the lawsuit until now, which is kind of funny. $40 million is coming out to a mere $1,000 for each student. More than 100. Oh, look at
what the fuck is going on outside your window?
San Francisco. Someone's being arrested right outside my place. So you can't stop this sort of thing. More than 100,000 current and former college athletes will have the potential to claim part of the settlement, according to CBS Sports. Of those athletes, roughly 7,000 of them are the current players, based on estimates from Rob Carey, an attorney for the former Nebraska quarterback Sam Keller. EA tacked on an extra $8 million in expenses related to the settlement in its fiscal 2014 financial results in May. Damn, that's a lot of money. So they've already given $8 million to the lawyers just to get this thing settled.
And already the $40 million settlement. So, yeah,
Jesus.
That's insane.
That is insane. Its proposed settlement followed the cancellation of its 2014 college football game, which would have been without the NCAA's logos and marks after the two parted ways in July of 2013. So, I mean, this could be the end of college football games as we know it, which to me and you is maybe not that big of a deal, but for, college fanatics, and there are millions of them, I work in that industry even, it's probably a pretty big deal. So what do you think about this?
Yeah, if you're not, like, this concept was beyond me because I went to a small, despite being a computer science guy, I went to a small liberal arts college in middle of upstate New York. So I always had the Patriots, and everybody I knew was a major market person and had their major market team. It wasn't until I got older and started meeting people from different parts of the country where college ball is their thing. They don't have an NFL team. They root for. They go to fucking, go blue, like in Michigan, and it's fucked up. Like there's a huge portion of the country that is just all about college ball. So if this goes through and they're not going to want to going forward sign these licensing agreements with every single college player. So that's going to start to mean not only the loss of football games, but now you're talking basketball,
Right.
Any other college sport that they want to do a game for, they're all going to be affected by this. So this seems like if they can't, nail something out with, and I don't even know who they nail it out with the end, because, is the NCAA, can they speak on behalf of all of the athletes, or can those athletes bow out like on a per athlete basis? Who knows? Like, I just don't understand how this is going to work. It's just bad news for sports. These guys, and I see both sides of it, because these guys are college athletes. They can't, it's not like the old days where they can get free cars and all this cool shit. They can't get any money for anything. Meanwhile, the NCAA is like licensing it off and getting money for licensing out to EA to have all their players in the game and all their likenesses, and the players aren't seeing any money for this. So I see it from both sides. I just hope that something can be nailed out where it's not overly costly for the licensing side, and the players get their fair share of the take, because these games need to exist, not for us, but for someone else.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's lose-lose really for both parties. I mean, it sucks that EA's even, well, I know people want to hate on EA and they love it when they see EA has to spend all this money, and I kind of see it from that perspective as well. But it's really bad for the gaming industry as well, because we want, like Derek said, we want people to have options, and that's a big deal to a lot of people. If they just decided one day that they couldn't license Halo or another game that we love, we'd all be up in arms as well.
Yeah,
so sports games are a huge, sports games are a huge part of the market. So it's a bad deal all around.
Exactly.
All right. Next story: Rise of Nations mystery buyer was Microsoft, and this is via Gamasutra. After 38 Studios filed for bankruptcy in 2012, its rights to the Rise of Nations were sold at auction to an undisclosed party. And now the game is being re-released, and this is even more incredible, on Steam in June by that mysterious buyer, Microsoft. Rise of Nations Extended Edition is advertised on Steam as an enhanced version of the original Rise of Nations, the critically acclaimed RTS developed by the now defunct Big Huge Games and published by Microsoft Studios back in 2003. 38 Studios acquired the rights to Rise of Nations and its sequel, Rise of Legends, when it acquired Big Huge Games in 2009. Now, Microsoft has tapped Project Spark developer Skybox Labs to update the game and re-release it with new features like Steamworks integration and Twitch streaming support. It's a familiar job for the British Columbian studio, which also worked on Age of Mythology, which I was a huge Age of Mythology man back in the day, Extended Edition, and Age of Empires 2, another great game, HD Edition. So what do you think? It's great to see a good studio behind good games. It's nice to see the IP is not dead. I don't know if you're a Rise of Nations fan, but it's still a good thing to see these things come back.
This is one of those things where, especially for the Big Huge Games guys, because here's how you got to look at this. This Big Huge Games was going strong. They got their stuff going. 38 Studios comes in. They've got their stuff going. No, we'll acquire you. And they're like, oh, come on in the umbrella. And then, fast forward not a whole lot of time. And then Rhode Island comes in with the sweet dangling carrot deal, fucks over 38 Studios. They go bankrupt. And now those Big Huge Games guys that were fine on their own, like it's a mirror of the 38 Studios thing. 38 Studios was fine on their own in Massachusetts until Rhode Island gave them all this money that then they pissed away and ended up in the shitter. Well, now the same thing is what happened to Big Huge Games. Big Huge Games was fine on their own. 38 Studios bought them and had shit knock on wrong. Everything would have been fine. But so it's good to see that title end up with a quality company, and to know that I'm sure that Microsoft brought on some of the Big Huge guys, at least if not all, but a good chunk, because these games don't just exist in a vacuum. It's not like done code. You need to maintain it, update it, especially if you want to follow on and come out with additional content or add on to it. And I know they've had these other guys patching the code, but I'm sure they brought on a bunch of the original developers. So this is good news all around for everybody.
Absolutely. Yep. All right, in more interesting news, we've got a report that the New Mexico Museum is going to actually sell all those ET cartridges they found buried underground. This is via joystick. So if you're in the market for a filthy yet arguably notable copy of the Atari 2600 debacle known as ET, you may want to plan a trip to New Mexico's Museum of Space History. I love that it's the Museum of Space History. It's fantastic. 1 month ago, Microsoft funded a dig in the southwestern state in search of the fabled cache of ET cartridges reportedly dumped by Atari in the wake of the game's disastrous launch. After boring through 30 feet of human refuse, the 1,300 of the cartridges were actually recovered. 700 of those historical artifacts will now be sold to the public, according to a decision by the Alamogordo, that is an actual place,
That is.
City Commission. Quote, we have been working with the Space Museum for curation, both for display and selling the games. They are now artifacts. I love that. Mayor Susie Galea told Polygon, quote, there are 700 that we can sell, end quote. It's currently unknown what the price of these unearthed cartridges will fetch, as Galea claims the city is still working to have the 700 pieces appraised. Once that's complete, they'll be handed over to the museum, complete with a certificate of authenticity, just in case any enterprising New Mexicans hope to strike it rich by retrieving more than 500,000 ET cartridges that remain buried. 500,000 are still underground. So it's pretty cool. But what do you think?
I think this is cool too. I like you said, it's funny that it's the Museum of Space History that gets this. Like I'm still not sure. Maybe that's the only museum there is in New Mexico. Like maybe there's no other museum.
One museum, right?
They're like, well, this has to go to museum. What do we have? Well, we got the Pottery Museum and the Space History. Well, space is probably closer than this, but I think it's cool, and it's funny that they bring up again the fact that there's still potentially, and now that there's been some found, I think we can say that whatever the original number is, they're all under there. The thing is, they dug in one spot that day. They found however many cartridges. There's 700 of them that were in this usable shape that they can actually sell. But they had to dig through, what was it, 30 feet of shit and garbage and everything else even to get to these. So there may be 500,000 more down there, but somebody's got to weed through actual garbage to get down to it. And are they really going to do this over and over and over again to unearth these things? I'll tell you something. If they sell out of these 700, someone's going to go in with a backhoe again and dig through 30 feet of shit.
Absolutely.
But if not, then this is your one shot at this. So I have one of these cartridges around at my parents' house somewhere. So I don't need to dig for this, but it would be cool to have one with a certificate of authenticity that says this is one of the cartridges that Atari shat out. They said, fuck this shit. And then somebody, 30 years later dug it up and it became cool.
Yeah, the value of these cartridges is not the game. The value is that they are of the lot that was buried underground. That's the value here. So if people are saying I don't understand why anyone would pay for a video game, blah, 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 you're probably right. I mean, some console cartridges are still worth a lot of money just because they're so rare. These obviously are not that rare, but they're part of a story. So that you're buying into the story. So that's kind of the thing.
Now see, and if you got a cartridge, you want to be part of this whole thing, you know what? Go buy one of these 700. Take it home. You already have your ET cartridge. Swap the two cartridges. Now, every day that you play your ET cartridge, you can know it's really one of the landfill ones.
Right.
And you've passed off your just normal ET cartridge to the general masses.
Right. That is
now if someone's buying my landfill cartridge on eBay, I did not do that with my actual one. It's really the landfill one I'm selling.
Right. I
totally did not swap it
Absolutely.
with my normal. Exactly.
You're too nice of a person to do that.
Oh, yes. Right.
All right, next story. This is a great one for me because I love hearing about esports. 2.4 billion hours, that's billion with a B, hours of esports were watched in 2013. This is via Gama Sutra. Thanks to the popularity of games like League of Legends, which pretty much everyone in the world other than me plays, more people than ever have been watching esports. And this trend is set to continue for many years to come. Around 2.4 billion hours of esports videos were watched during 2013, according to a new report from IHS Technology. That's nearly double the 1.3 billion hours that were watched in 2012. That's crazy. And the analytics firm estimates that the total will go up to 6.6 billion by 2018, with China, obviously, the largest market for online esports views in the world, followed by, of course, the US and then South Korea. League of Legends was the most popular esport game in terms of total hours viewed in 2013, followed, of course, by almost the identical Dota 2 and the ever-popular StarCraft 2. IHS Senior Director Dan Sheeran, I'm gonna call him Crying, let's go with that, says that streaming platform Twitch has been a large component in causing this great influx, with people watching live streams of esports nearly tripling in 2013. Azubu and MLG are also boasting these figures, while YouTube, Dailymotion, and Tencent continue to provide a more generalist service for watching these esports. Most people do sort of tend to go to YouTube to sort of see what did happen as opposed to what is happening. So by 2018, IHS believes that the esports video scene will be worth around $300 million per year in global advertising revenue. Quote, while advertising in and around games has often proved to be a very difficult proposition, advertising in online video is commonplace, said Pierce Harding-Rules, director at IHS. Quote, this form of advertising gives game companies much better opportunity of accessing the advertising value chain in a successful and meaningful way, and offers these companies a route to profitable return on investment from their esports initiatives. So this is obviously a big thing for me and Derek, because we stream and do all this stuff as well. But the really great part of it is that it's continuing to grow, and that means people can actually have jobs being casters and being involved in the industry without actually having to be a developer. I just love this sort of idea of being a professional gamer, being a professional caster, and really being able to be online and make money off of this thing that everyone seems to love. So for me, it's really cool. Yeah. What do you think about stuff like this?
I think it's cool. That 2.4 billion hours. That is an insane number.
Yeah, that's nuts.
That's a lot more than I would have expected. I knew it was huge, but anything measured in the billions, even if you're just like a billion fleas or whatever, it doesn't matter what it is. A billion's huge, and we're talking 2.4 billion. So that's great news to see that the huge jump that happened between 2012 and 2013 being literally almost doubling that number from 1.3 to 2.3 or 2.4. That's insane. This is imagine if it keeps going up at this rate.
And I hope it does. It's one of those things where it's really awesome that it's getting here. My only concern has always been, and obviously we are Twitch streamers, but there were a couple of competitors to Twitch as of even a year ago, and they've all sort of been placed out of the market. Twitch has sort of just capitalized on this. That's a good thing. Twitch is a great product, and we use it every day. But I just want to. My only concern is I hope this we get some diversity here. And get more people streaming from different places. But other than that, it's great news, man. It's great. What does this story have you saying?
Jay, this story in both number and craziness has me saying, what the fuck? And on that, why don't we hop on over into the mailbag and voicemails. Altius asks, you guys said this week would be your pre-E3 episode. I'm assuming you have all of your appointments squared away by now. So which ones are you most excited for? Now, Jay, I knew you wouldn't be able to remember this offhand, so I'm going to pop open the calendar here just so I can...
Oh, I actually know exactly what I could tell you exactly what it is.
All right, you tell me what you're most excited for.
Destiny. I want to finally... We're hoping to get some hands-on play with Destiny.
Oh, we have multiple Destiny. We have Destiny single-player appointments. We have Destiny multiplayer appointments.
So without question, it'll be nice to finally see what Bungie has been doing. Obviously, last year we got to see a little bit of the playthrough that, from that very small onset of the game starting, and obviously we didn't get hands on. So it'll be really cool to see how the game actually feels. If it's going to be something I'm going to be interested in playing, I imagine it will be. But that for me, hands down, nothing really else that I can even compare to that feeling of what is Destiny about. So for me, hands down, no question, Destiny.
All right. Well, for me, I'm going to say in addition to Destiny, I'm looking at the schedule right now, so pardon my down looking. We also have, between the three of us, between myself, Jay, and Tiff, we have some Xbox appointments in the Xbox booth for unannounced titles. So I'm hoping that one of these unannounced titles is some Halo related title, which would be nice to check out. And I'm not sure what that is or whether it's Halo 5, but see, that's been announced. So maybe it's this Halo anniversary thing. Who knows? So I'm curious to check that out. That's always good. Actually, you know what? Almost every appointment we're booked into is something that we chose to. It's not like we did at E3 2010, where I booked us in
random
every half hour on the half hour to everything. Like we literally covered the entire show in 2010. Then we realized, you know what? Why not just cover the stuff we like and cover the stuff that people that our listeners, viewers, website members, we got to cover what they want, not just everything, because there's a lot of shit at E3 too. People make money on shit games and they get booths. So yeah, just looking through quick. Well, obviously I'm always excited for the press events. We got the Microsoft press event, we got Sony. So actually a week from now at this time, we'll be finishing up the middle of the Sony press event. So, and we'll be live tweeting the fuck out of that for those of you curious about that. And we'll obviously be talking about it after we get back, but the press events are huge. Bethesda always has something good to show off. I'm looking forward to that. We get some Activision appointments. EA's always the crapshoot. You get in there and there's some just look, it's Madden again. Look, it's this. But they're every year they come back with all these titles. They like even back when we saw 38 Studios, whatever the fuck it was. Kingdoms of Amalur. Yeah. That was the EA published title.
Yep.
They always have a couple things in there that you're not expecting. Last year we got to play that 64-player Battlefield game. Awesome. So that's going to be good. Wargaming, we always go see them just because they're
they're great people.
They're our special friends from Mother Russia.
Right.
And they take care of us and we take care of them, and it's some back scratching. So a lot of good appointments. I'm curious to see what all these guys are doing, and I don't know, but like Jay said, the most for me are probably Destiny, and actually I'm curious to see what's going on with the latest Call of Duty, just because this one's now that they've switched to this 3-year development model and 3 different developers. I hope that this one is a little more baked than what we've seen, and the fact that it's not dialed into the same mold over and over. This is more that corporations versus military, and it's got fucking Kevin Spacey, and who knows? It could be really cool. So yeah, I'm curious to see all that stuff. But you know what? Come 2 weeks from now, we're going to be telling you exactly what the fuck we want.
Exactly.
Yes, because we're going to have seen it all, and we're going to be fucking skeeting all over the place.
Wear your face masks.
Yes, yeah, it's a face mask only show. It's like a Gallagher show.
Gallagher show, yeah.
This is when we share the same brain.
Yeah.
But yes, it's like a Gallagher show. The first 5 rows will get wet. So thanks for the question, Altius, and it was definitely a good one. So if you have any questions or comments or concerns, give us a call, 773-527-2961. Email us at podcast@tooltoplay.com. You can also comment on this episode's thread on the Tool to Play homepage. And sponsors! Remember, by supporting our sponsors, you help to support Still Got Game. GoDaddy, starting at less than $5 a month. Web hosting from GoDaddy.com includes 99% uptime, 24/7 support, and free access to the GoDaddy hosting connection. The place to quickly install over 50 applications like WordPress, Joomla, Drupal, EarOS, Commerce, and more. Go to tooltoplay.com/GoDaddy for great deals on new.com registrations and renewals starting at just $1.99. Some restrictions apply. See site for details. Get your piece of the internet at GoDaddy.com.
Jesus.
I tried a more extreme read.
I think you terrified people from ever using GoDaddy there. I think that's what just happened.
But see, there's other sponsors out there. They're like, I want some with extreme fucking read for our commercial. And now they have an example. We can just throw out this B-roll to them and they'll be like, holy shit, these guys are fucking extreme. So speaking of that, if you're one of those people that thought that was awesome and you have something to sell, you want to sponsor us, you don't want us to do some kind of deal where if someone actually registers a domain name, we might get $1, and you just want to pay us outright and we'll talk about your shit. And we'll talk about it more than that, 30 seconds I gave to GoDaddy. You want to pay us money? We'll talk about you for 3, 4, 5 minutes. I don't give a fuck. So you tell us what you want to sell. We'll tell you if you're going to pay us. We'll sell it. You pay us. Boom. Done. Twitter us up. You can find everything Tool to Play related at twitter.com/tool to play. Everything podcast related at twitter.com/still_got_game. I, king of the internet, god of everything that's fucking holy, am at twitter.com/Derek Nolan.
And of course, you can find me at twitter.com/dude_I_rock.
Facebook the fuck out of us. Facebook.com/tool to play. Facebook.com/Derek Nolan.
Facebook.com/dude_I_rock.
We also have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/tool to play. Go there, subscribe. You'll get all the fine Tool to Play content, whether that's the weekly episodes of Still Got Game, whether it's I heard a rumor that Thick and Thin with LB and Duty is coming back, or everybody's favorite weird ass show, Hits motherfucking Hits. Hits show is fucked up, and it'll be on there. But you know what? Hit loves his show, and everybody else loves to experience that late night cum shot with him. So definitely subscribe. YouTube.com/tool to play. You will know when all of our content goes live. Speaking of when our content goes live, if you go get our app, the Tool to Play app, you can get it in the iTunes App Store or that fake bullshit communist Android App Store. No matter where you get it, the app will tell you. Not only will you get all the Tool to Play news from the homepage, but you will also be notified of any of our video content. And that includes Still Got Game, Thick and Thin with LB and Duty, Hits motherfucking quit hit motherfucking hit shits, and or whatever show you're into. And those will also be pushed to you via the app. So whether you're a YouTube proper person, you like to get an email saying, hey, there's a new episode of Still Got Game, or you want that app in your fucking face oh my God, there's a new episode of Still Got Game, or Hits motherfucking quit shits. It doesn't matter. The app will tell you. So get the app, iTunes App Store, Communist App Store, doesn't matter. Also, please rate and review our podcast in iTunes. Give us 5 stars and write up a little review. Something like, hey, these guys are gods. I love them. I can't wait for their E3 coverage. Or if you're writing it after E3, their E3 coverage was fucking amazing. These guys are brilliant. Their charisma between these hosts is incredible.
Sexy.
Wow. You threw me off my game there, but it's true. But regardless of what brings you to write this review, which part of your loins are touched by us, definitely write something up. Give us 5 stars because we really need that. So go to iTunes, search up Still Got Game, click the 5 stars button. When it pops up that little text box, just type something in there. Even if you want something short, like A+++, like you're writing an eBay review. Good buyer, A+++, would recommend. Doesn't matter. Why is Hit showing us his fucking...
His titties? I don't know. Yeah. He does that from time to time.
Okay, yeah, there's some weird shit going on with our producer Hit. So, also, go to twitch.tv/tool to play. You can also subscribe to us there. The channel is broadcasting live tons of different shows, whether it's our actual programming like Still Got Game or Hits motherfucking quit motherfucking hit shits, or it is just people streaming various games from Tool to Play. Like Hits, often he's streaming Titanfall. Lately he's been doing Watch Dogs and some other shit. So we always have content on our Twitch channel. So twitch.tv/tool to play. Go there and subscribe. There's always going to be something on you want to watch. Last but not least, join us each and every Monday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, twitch.tv/tool to play. We are live and we have a chat room here. Everybody gets involved and it's a good time.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you for that.
You need that validation at the end.
Yes. That was nice. Yes. Yeah, you're welcome. And like I said, this will be our new time until we either figure something else out or
hopefully we do.
Yes, or until someone complains. But believe me, this is no worse for anyone except me. This is the worst possible time for me.
Yeah.
Actually, it's going to be worse for Tiff because, like we said, when we're back from E3 and our wrap-up show starts at 10 p.m. Eastern and it usually goes 3 hours.
And I know Tiff loves that sleepy times.
Yeah. Yeah, that 1 a.m. cap is going to be rough.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, one year we had the 3.5-hour wrap-up, so that'd be 1:30.
Yeah.
So you never know what's going to happen. But as of right now, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. And I guess on that, Jay, why don't we wrap this pre-E3 episode up? I am Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
And I am Joel Dude I Rock Albert.
We'll see you motherfuckers after E3.